What's going on, everyone? So the Milwaukee Bucks should be very good at the game of basketball this year. And you can make an argument if Giannis doesn't get hurt, they very likely could have been in the NBA Finals, and I would have loved to seen a Milwaukee versus Denver matchup, right? Can Milwaukee overcome that juggernaut that was Denver last year? They kind of seemed like they had everything lined up, ready to go. They seemed like the team that just had the dominoes fall their way in order to win an NBA championship. But Milwaukee, I think, could have posed a little bit of a threat and a little bit of an issue, and maybe even have snatched that NBA Finals. But again, Giannis goes down, they lose to Miami. Miami builds that momentum, and then they're in the NBA Finals, and it was just basically Denver walking to a championship trophy. But this year, it was like, okay, Milwaukee, they were getting older, time to make some changes. Chris Middleton, is he leaving? What are they going to do with Brook Lopez? Right? Drew Holiday, there's even talks about like him retiring soon and stuff. And it's like, all right, they need to start looking to move in a different direction. Giannis, he sooner or later is either going to get a new extension, right? Or he's going to end up potentially leaving. And so you wanna do what you can to appease him, kind of make him feel like, all right, I'm still in a position to win an NBA championship, because in 2025, 2026, he has a player option. So he's going into this year, which is fine. They'll ride through it. But if they don't have success this year, next year, he's going to be 30 years old. He could be in what could be his final year of his contract. Now, obviously, Milwaukee would love to give him an extension, and it's more likely than not, I think he does. But does he wait and say, let's see, like, show me what we can do, or if they don't have success again this year, does he go, okay, let's start making change? Like, we need to get younger. We need to get in a position to compete with some of these up and coming teams, right? Like, does Giannis want to be okay with just winning one NBA championship and being a first, second round exit? Or does he want to end up trying to build this legacy and really kind of make a push for one of the greatest, if not the greatest players ever? Because he's still there. Like, he's still very young. He still has a lot of potential. He racks up, 3, 4, 5 championships. All of a sudden, he's up there as like, a potential top 5 to 7 player all time. And he's a guy that is very competitive and wants to win. But you look at the roster and it's like, okay, Giannis and Middleton, okay, I can understand Middleton. Drew Holiday, I love Drew Holiday. But you could get some nice pieces for Middleton. You could get some nice pieces for Drew Holiday. Even Brook Lopez, you could get some nice pieces for. They're probably going to be, top 1 or 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. But should they have already, or at going into the season, should they start looking to maybe go younger and unload some guys? Or if, somebody becomes available, do they try to make a push for that, right? Like, so say, I don't know, let's say Trae Young ends up wanting out, right? Does Milwaukee go and say, like, Trae Young with Giannis and this defense with Brook Lopez, we get a scorer and a playmaker and a guy that can really kind of just take some of the burden off and close down the stretch and stuff. I'm just throwing out a name. I'm not saying that Milwaukee should look for that or anything like that, but, like, you look around, like, Bobby Portis is a great player, right? Middleton, I think, is a great second, third option for Giannis. I think he's more of a third option than a second option. Drew Holiday is still one of the best two-way guards in the league. He's got good size, good everything, but he's 33, going to be 34. And it's like, again, do you start looking to unload some of these guys to get younger around Giannis and maybe kind of have a plan in place to where you can go to him and say, hey, like, this year we're going to be okay, right? But there's no guarantees. Give us like 2 years and let us really build a younger, more longevity roster. Because, again, this roster currently constructed, and they're basically locked in. Like, the roster that they have right now is basically locked in. And look, it's nice, right? They got the five that you have on the screen: Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, Giannis, and Brook Lopez. They could go Malik Beasley, right? They picked up Malik Beasley, so maybe they go Drew Holiday, Malik Beasley. If he can kind of get back to shooting the basketball, that could be huge for Milwaukee, because he was one of the more make volume shooter guys, but he's really hot and cold, and he can be a liability defensively. But with Giannis and Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, they have the defense to kind of make up for the lack of Malik Beasley's defense, but he gives them some quality shooting. So that could be a nice sort of rotation. And then you got, Robin Lopez. So you got the Lopez twins that can go and battle it out. Grayson Allen still. Jay Crowder, I think they still kept him, right? Again, it's an older team. And there's nothing wrong with that. And again, they could very well win an NBA championship. But what happens in a year or two, right? Especially if they don't win this year. Are you really going to... Because now you got Chris Middleton on basically a max extension. He's 31, right? Do you really think Chris Middleton and Giannis are the two guys with basically all the other guys you have locked? You got Brook Lopez locked up for 2 years now? It's just kind of the same. And, familiarity, I guess, is a good thing. You need cohesiveness, all that stuff. Absolutely. But, you're paying Brook Lopez $25 million a year. You got Chris Middleton, you're paying like $40 million a year. Bobby Portis is on a great contract. Giannis, if he gets an extension, he's going to be making $60 million a year or whatever. How are you supposed to really improve this roster? And if Drew Holiday really does decide to retire or pack it up or whatever, or he just kind of phases out, what do you do? And then if Giannis just keeps losing and he's like, all right, I'm done, then what do you do? Right? Like, are you really going to end up trading him? And now you're stuck with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. And it's Milwaukee is teetering on the potential of being in a rock and a hard place. I don't think they're there yet. Right? And look, luckily Giannis is, he's not from the States where, he was pampered and catered to his whole life growing up, right? Like, you see these foreign players, they come from overseas, they come to the NBA, and they're a lot more just loyal, they're a lot more patient, they're a lot more they're more willing to stay in a smaller market, stuff like that. But, that whole, hey, I'm 31, 32 years old, New York can make me a billionaire, or LA can make me a billionaire. That's why you usually see these star players in the later ends of their career start looking at like a Laker team. And it's like, I could go to the Lakers and I could make $1 billion going to the Lakers, or I could go to the Knicks and I could make $1 billion going to the Knicks, right? Start going to these big market teams. He's like, I'm not winning here. I'm stuck with Chris Middleton, who, he's having injury issues. And I don't think they're there yet, but I really think that they need to start looking to potentially start retooling. If Milwaukee doesn't at least come close to winning it this year, I really do think that they need to maybe start shopping Middleton next offseason. Start shopping Drew Holiday next offseason. Right? Like, they need to start, I think they're going to need to start retooling and explain to Giannis, like, look, give us a year or two, right? If we can't figure it out and you want out, we'll trade you to where you want to go. We'll figure it out. But help us out. We'll put together a new roster. We'll get younger. We'll get more athletic, right? And maybe that's the way to go. Because it's just, I don't know. I just feel like Milwaukee's in a very awkward spot. And it's only going to get more awkward as time goes on. I'm not saying that they should have just let Middleton walk or let Brook Lopez walk or anything like that. What were the other options? I get that. But again, if it's not working out, I think you start looking to unload guys. But those are my thoughts and opinions. And as always, I pass the question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. How do you feel about the situation? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Somewhere in between? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below.